Curious why you felt it was necessary to cover this topic in particular.
If I had been planning my life out and I thought, what's the first book I'm going to write, that wouldn't have been it. So I was asked to write this. So, but I probably would have got around to the subject eventually. And one of the reasons is because I've realized that a lot of faulty Christian beliefs are based on a misunderstanding of the prophetic parts of the Bible. First of all, a misunderstanding of the different genres of writing. You know, you'll hear people say, I take the Bible literally. Well, they don't. I mean, nobody does that.
Yeah.
Like Jesus said, you know, I am the vine, but nobody believes that he was a bunch of grapes, you know. And then people say, well, I take Revelation literally, but they don't. I've never met anyone who thinks that the beast from the sea is Godzilla, you know, or, you know, that's a symbol. It's only certain things they want to take literally. This misunderstanding of different genres of, just like we have different genres of writing today, nobody would read a the way that you read a novel. Well, actually, I knew somebody once that started reading a dictionary but that guy had problems before he started that process. No normal person would do that, you know. So we know that a dictionary is supposed to be read one way. A book of poetry is supposed to be read another way. Nobody would take the poetic expressions as literal. They would say, "Oh, that's getting an emotional point across," or whatever. Like an illustration I sometimes use with that is like if you were reading a piece of poetry and it said, you know, and it was a love poem, and it said, when my eyes saw you, Cupid's arrows struck me and my heart exploded. No one is going to think, oh, Cupid is a literal being who fires literal arrows, and the man had a heart attack, his heart exploded. No, everyone knows it's poetic speech. We know how to read that genre. Well, likewise, there's genres in the Bible, like the apocalyptic genre of writing that is not popular today, but was popular then, and people understood that it was a language of symbols. It wasn't a narrative. It wasn't to be taken literally. It was all in picture language. And so I've realized that when people don't know that, when they don't understand, when they treat the Bible as a flat book, rather than as a collection of different genres written by different authors to address different circumstances, then they make big mistakes. And the second thing is that actually, in their desire to defend the Bible, they make Jesus a liar. You know, Jesus said there's going to be a tribulation, and it's going to be in Judea, and it's going to happen at the hands of the Romans, and it's going to happen within one generation. And like he didn't want it to happen. He said to Jerusalem, I don't want this to happen, but if you keep going down this path, that this is what will happen. Well, now, people not understanding the prophetic scriptures, they always push them off into just a few years ahead in our future. So they've got a tribulation not happening in Judea, but happening all over the world. Not happening at the hands of the Romans, but happening at the hands of, it used to be communism, and now it's ISIS, or, you know, it was Saddam Hussein for a while, but he's dead now, so it can't be him. You know, it's always at the hands of somebody else. And they've got it happening in our lifetime, not in Jesus' generation. So in their desire to defend the authority of Scripture, they're saying that Jesus was wrong. And so I think that when we get the background story to these things, you know, why Revelation was written in the style that it's written, and why, and how it was actually challenging other apocalyptic views that existed at the time, what Jesus was saying, who he was saying it to, and why he was saying it, then it makes the story more cohesive, it makes it more understandable, and it gets rid of all of the crazy ideas. For instance, in Revelation, there's a big passage about the mark of the beast. Now, if you don't read the Bible, but if you read ancient Roman history, you'll find out that Emperor Nero, his own subjects referred to him as that great beast. Not the Christians, I mean just the pagans in Rome, they hated him. He was a very beastly person. He committed lots of murders and violent crimes and all kinds of things. He was known as the Beast. He reintroduced emperor worship, which had kind of died out. He reintroduced it in Asia Minor. He had statues of himself set up at the door of the marketplace, and no one could go in to buy or sell unless there was incense burning in front of it. They took the incense in their hand and put it in their head and said, "Caesar is Lord." Then they could go in and buy and sell. Now, once you know that, and you then pick up the book of Revelation, and it says, "Behold, and there was an image made of the beast, and no man could buy or sell unless they took the mark of the beast on their hand and head." And Nero had people who defied those laws beheaded. Even the Apostle Paul was eventually, according to tradition, beheaded. And and it said that those who defy the order would be beheaded. But once you see that, you think, hold on a minute. This was written to the 7 churches of Asia Minor, where this was taking place in their lifetime and in their experience. Once you've got that settled, I now know who the beast was and what the mark of the beast was. I've got that settled. If you don't have that settled, then what I would find was, as a pastor, people would come back again and again and say, do you think Obama's the beast? Do you think Bin Laden's the beast? Do you think that, do you think microchips could be the mark of the beast? And there's a new beast and a new mark of the beast every year, and it causes so much alarm. And then you've got to explain to everyone why, no, it's not that person. And I just find the easier ways to say, here's what it was. Mm-hmm. Here's when it happened. Here's where it happened. Now we've got that settled. When someone comes up with the next crazy theory, you're not even going to have to think about it. You've already dealt with the issue. So those are the kind of reasons why, mainly pastoral reasons. I was concerned by the alarmist and sometimes crazy beliefs that people buy into when they push the prophetic scriptures off to the future.
Right, definitely. Because then that kind of answers my next question, because I was just curious why that you felt that was such an important idea to get across, even if it's not a necessarily salvation issue.
It's not, but it can be a life-destroying issue. So, like, we've got people who come to the church now that used to buy into the kind of end-time tribulation, left behind type of thing.
That was me.
Right. Well, there was one guy that before he came to the church here was actually preparing to sell his home here in the city and buy land in northern BC and move his family up there so that they could live off the grid with survivalist equipment so that the Antichrist couldn't get them. This was going to uproot and destroy an entire family, cut them off from all of their relatives and so on, all because of bad theology, So the truth will set you free. And really, it's not that I'm so passionate about eschatology and so on. It's that I'm passionate to see people set free from superstitions. Yeah. And this is one that has latched itself onto the Christian faith.
Awesome. Very cool.